Doesn't the person start talking here in about a half hour, right? Check the news.
Isn't it at 2:30? So about 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, so in about 10 minutes, sorry. I'm not being predictive enough in my trades. We're gonna go right at the extreme band there. And then I'm gonna probably cut here if it doesn't look like it's gonna take me out. Want to see it hold all of the indicators there? If I get into profit, I might divvy up my stops into like fours. So I can move them around.
Quite a stretch of indecision in C1.
Oh yeah. But it looks like it's hold the 50 OR and it's a terrible place for a trade entry. Right in the middle of that range. Terrible place for a trade entry. It's either trade the extreme or don't trade, but I'm breaking a rule. Yeah, that's what can be the frustrating time trading between these times is that obviously the volatility, not taking profit quick enough.
Venture to guess, I'm not the only one, but stretches like this are definitely the Achilles heel for me.
Yeah, sometimes it's good to know when not to be in the market.
Yeah, you look back, you take a 615 to say, 585 and maybe even a little lower, maybe in the middle of opening range there. But and you can just bounce off those extremes multiple times.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of hindsight.
I got out. I should have stuck in a little bit longer, but I got out at about $1,000 in profit. I just didn't want to stick with it because they were getting too close to the dude stepping up to the podium. Whoever that dude is. Or dudette.
Powell.
Yeah. Try not to know their names. It astonishes people when I go to parties and they're like, "You don't watch the FMLC or you don't?" I'm like, "No, I specifically designed what I do so I don't have to pay attention to that stuff." Yeah, I should have stayed in. I watched this one, I'm sure, I think it was on MSNBC. It was this Forex trader. And it was like him and all the work he went through the news stories. And I think his wife kind of worked at home too, or was home. And he had an office, and he would just be in constant. I should find it. His life looked miserable, you know, because he'd look for just little minute news nuggets, and he had like 2 TVs on, and you know, and he would be sometimes guessing it right, but he'd say, "Well, you know, I gotta find it," because he says something like, "That doesn't make any sense, you know? The Japanese are doing this, and then this is doing this. It should be doing this," you know?
Yeah.
When I saw that, I was already kinda well on my way, but I was like, "I don't wanna be that guy."
Well, classic chart theory says everything, if you're a technical trader, all the fundamentals get priced into the chart. So just learn to read the chart.
Yeah. Which is hard because there is aspects of fundamentals that I do think are helpful, but I think even in fundamental analysis, you need to have the same type of thing that we actually have with the way we trade, which is I won't say a alternative view of the market, but it is really a questioning view of the market. You know, a not que- not, I don't want to say it. I feel like it's questioning because I questioned every aspect. I questioned support and resistance. Is that really how it works? You know, I question moving off average crossovers. Is that really how it works? Well, if you have a lagging indicator, what's the biggest benefit of a lagging indicator? You know, what is the strength of a lagging indicator? What's the weakness? And you know, anyways, other people talk. I know there's other people out there that have things to say. While we're waiting for Mr. Powell to step up to the mic, it does look like it's going to rip up. And one of the things you can do if you're crazy, not really crazy, but you could probably if I was doing this, I'd probably put an order right around 572, and I'd probably put an order right around 667, and then see if either one of them gets picked up. Sometimes during these things, now if you're on one of those funded accounts, you're not able to do that stuff. And if you don't know how to discretionary trade, that's probably something you shouldn't be doing. Which I won't be doing because it would be showing bad trading that I wouldn't want someone just starting trading as.
Well, I'll just ask the theory behind that, even though you're not trading it, is that it might do kind of a whipsaw down and then fly back up. Is that what the thought pattern is on that?
Yeah,
The thinking behind that is? Yeah.
whipsaw up, whipsaw down, and it does it within sometimes 2 seconds, 3 seconds. So you're not going to do it on anything heavy, but I routinely done it on big news days or big news times, and it's worked sometimes. I got really good at doing it on that last 15 minutes of the market. You know, some of the streams I've traded that strategy. So I don't know what streams, so don't ask me, but some of the streams in the last year, I've traded that strategy. Sometimes it worked out, sometimes it didn't.
You keep your stop losses pretty close to your entries so that way you don't get burnt too bad if it goes the wrong way.
Oh, I don't do stops there. So that's what I'm saying. Usually
Oh.
it's like 5 lots. And then it's kind of it's, I guess you could probably put it more towards gambling, but I've just been trading the market long enough that I've seen it unfold enough that I'm willing to take the risk. Just like when the market, is reacting to news and it's just ripping and ripping and ripping, there's a first reaction most people get trapped in, and then there's just another push up, and sometimes that push up goes a lot farther than you anticipate. That's the one you want to trade. That I see unfold time and time again. You could trade both of them, fade both of them, but it takes a skill to do that. But doing that though, the market's ripping so much. I mean, you can make just trading a couple lots, you can make a couple $1,000s within 1 to 2 minutes. I try not to highlight any of that crap because I say crap because it's not it's stuff that you do when you get to the point where you're like me and you're bored trading your system and you're just kind of doing advanced trading stuff. And it's not something that I would ever put out there. I wouldn't want someone to discover me through and discover our system and our community through some type of lame. Like I wouldn't want someone to discover our community through me showcasing a trade like that because it's completely contrary to what I would. That takes you 3 or 4 years to get that level, 2 or 3 years to get to that level. So it's not something I would promote or suggest. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, I'd rather have a solid strategy than some hit and miss thing. And in time, if I get sophisticated or when I get sophisticated enough to be able to see that, even better. But no, I'm good with solid fundamentals.
It's kind of hard to explain to people about the whole getting bored thing because most people don't understand it. But I guess the way to explain it, imagine you're an NFL player and you're playing in I don't know, the high school. You would just it would be fun for a little bit, but after a while, and I'm not saying it's that easy. It's not that easy, but I mean, it's fun for a little bit, but then you kind of you kind of thrive on the competition. See, I should have stayed in. I didn't get any signal to get out. That was me just being scared of losing on that trade because I lost on I didn't quite lose, but I didn't do good. Yeah, I did lose in the previous 2. That was me carrying over the previous 2 trades into the current trade I was in. I should have stayed long. Yep, should have stayed long.
Tagged up with the high, so we'll see if it wants to push higher.
Yeah, I'm mad about that last trade. Genuinely upset at myself. Well, the next trade on deck is 680 is our next reaction area upwards. And then what I called earlier in the day was either 786 or 852. So far, the market is liking what JP is putting down, but it might do a huge sell-off here, one of these zones. It might try to get to where it wants. Let's look at the daily. Let's check out the daily. It's a pretty big alpha there. I was in at the bottom too, like an idiot. I got out. Great route of trade. There we go. Weekly open. 680 aligns with the other target we were looking at, 680. So 680 to 695 or so is kind of a target fade zone. We do have the actual RDA, which is in between our momentum indicators at 751. 784 is our other key level on chart 4. So one of the things we'll look for here is maybe a rollover, a retest of the lower high at 639, but that doesn't look like it's in the cards. Question is, I'll put some entries right around the slow momentum and the RDA on chart 2, our entry chart. And don't think we'll get filled, but we'll put them there. Don't want to chase the trade. We are seeing some volatility pick up, so that's why I reduced my positions to, instead of 3. There we go. Yeah. See, got picked up on those. We're going to take some quick profit on those just because of the speed of those moves. Up about 1100. I got out. I don't like the way it's moving because it could rip either way here. Probably should have kept a little bit in, but made about probably 1100 on that trade. It did come back and test the OR low or high. Like I said, did it quicker than I anticipated. And it was the trade to be in because I should have stayed in it. Should have put in trailing stops. I've been burned today by not taking profits quick enough, so I've been focused on here in the morning. I wasn't taking profits as quick as I should. So part of the morning was let me take some profits a little bit quicker. We do have obviously that this week's open's not in play. The daily open doesn't look like it's in play. So really our only key levels is the OR high still that we can hang our hat on, and then the previous week level that we're looking at. If we do look at the NDX, see what the NDX can tell us. NDX bounced off. Oh, that's the week. That's still strong. NDX is hitting fast momentum, and it's got another from 77 to 124. 124 to hit the slow momentum, which if we equate that out minus, I don't know, roughly 20%, would put that at 124. 1 deuce 4, we don't die, we multiply. Puts us at 747. Although the pullback. So the question here is, I like this pullback. I think I'll sell into it. And then at the RDA, I might reverse. Not heavy. I entered too late. Not bad though. Entered too late. Was focused on something else. Wasn't trading. Anybody else have anything to say so I don't have to talk so I can focus on trading? Or do you want to focus on trading? I heard
I
the
think
go
I
ahead.
think we just like listening to you.
I heard the group is a little more lively when I'm not around, talking amongst each other. So is that just because
Sometimes.
I'm the guy, or because I don't want to suck all the oxygen out of the room. I like to hear other ideas and any,
Well, when you left today, it went silent
yeah,
earlier.
I'm not, like I said, I'm not hurt or anything. I'm just, I
Yeah.
I just feel like when I show up sometimes it's like I'm dominating. And people, of course, people ask questions and stuff, but um I don't want that to always be the case. We were gonna look at oil. So
Uh,
go ahead.
Rex, I think when you speak, you're the oxygen for us. That's why everybody's quiet listening to you, because every word is weight in gold for me. But thank you. Please continue.
I
Oh
appre
my gosh, it's brutal.
Did you get in or did you get hurt? I appreciate
Oh,
that.
I got hurt. That was not good for me. That one.
So
I'm
560,
still holding my short position at 564 spot 33 on MNQ.
maybe
So holding a short from there, from 564.
Yeah, but I'm holding it for a while.
I guess. Boy, you
Yeah.
you just
When
kept
we
taking the 2x4 to the face on that one.
and then some, especially when it started ripping up. But we already took out that alpha candle. We already took out the important levels, all the candles to the left on C1, all the green ones, and we're testing this level right now, right?
That's
So
the bottom of that channel we had there. That
yeah, and Powell, even though the interest rates hold, what he's saying right now, we're not done increasing it. So right at about when he finished the sentence, I think market realized that it's nothing good is coming. So they're pausing. I think that's the reaction. What do you guys think, Rex?
well, I can start. I think he's determined on destroying the economy and the dollar for some odd reason. But hey, that's my personal
Yep.
opinion. So, there's two questions I have. Is number one, is this priced in? And if it's not priced in, where the heck is it going? Because still, I ask the question. Yes, there's a terrible war in Ukraine. There's a terrible war that might be expanding in the Middle East. But where are you going to park your capital for it to be safe? Um, if war breaks
US.
out further in Europe and the Middle East, I mean, are you going to trust Dubai? Are you going to trust, you know, are you going to want to park it in? I'm
And what do
talking
you think?
seriously capital. No, yeah, I'd love to hear other thoughts.
So I think US still more solid from the world standpoint of view to park the capital, long-term safety.
Yeah, it's not like you can walk around with gold bars in your pants. That's the problem with gold. I mean, everybody loves gold, but they don't. I mean, number one, it can be confiscated. Number two, it's not easily transferable across the seas, and so okay, tap the RDA. The question is, do we believe chart two or do we believe in further downside? So I'm thinking further downside based on that move, and then selling right around the RDA on chart two. But it's pretty fierce, so you got to be
sure you
prepared
didn't want
to sell to 622. Go ahead. Sorry.
to. No, that 585 is not had any ability to really stay below it. Since that alpha candle, but 10:20 market time.
My gut tells me it's got downside, but I don't trade my gut. I trade the chart. Right now, we're still technically, if this holds, we're still momentum and bias long. So overshoot of the RDA, yes, but where's the target? Right now that I'm trading on the downside, the OR low, but even then, I'm targeting probably right around 418. Or no, wait, sorry. It did hit that. So the next downside level on chart 4 is 531. 531. Just slowly going in with one lot here and one lot here. Yeah, I'd love to hear other thoughts on kind of what the interest rates, what they're really. But the other thing for people that are into Bitcoin, you know, are we, is the market still buying the news or buying the rumor? As far as the ETF, which isn't really an ETF. I mean, it is, but it's a paper ETF, as near as I can tell. Is it still buy the rumor phase, or are we about to hit sell the news phase? I mean, the news hasn't dropped yet, has it? I haven't really. Looking at the charts, it doesn't look like it has. I still see a flag pattern on the 4-hour. Still a flag pattern. And we got the RDA at 33,185. That holds and rips up, then, we still got a flag pattern. I don't like the way this is unfolding here. Yeah, don't like the jerky nature of that. I'll get out. I'll go heavy when I see that it makes sense. Part of it is my read on the 60-minute. If it holds above that level, the previous candle, might be a signal that, hey, that level's going to hold. Next trade, I want to trade with conviction, though, so I like to go in heavier. Those get picked up. I'll maybe jump out. I entered because basically it took out the RDA. Yeah, it's a bad entry as far as momentum check, but all it needs to do is actually tag, get to the extreme band below, and then it'll flip the momentum indicators on chart 2. So I'm heavily reading. I'm still going off the narrative of chart 1 as my control. That last pullback did tag the M9 on chart 3. And then you could look at that as an intention on taking out 566, the level at 566, did hold. The next level on chart 4 is 534. So for those that are watching along, you can see that on chart 4. I should just keep the trading view stream on just one chart. Oh, volatility wise. Oh, there we go. Take some off. Take another one off. Take another one off. And I'm going to do 2, 4, 6 trailing stops just to kind of stay in the position for longer. Up about $4,000. Not a bad trade there. We do have a target at least of 533, where I'll take maybe an additional 2 off. I wanted to go heavier in 9. I just don't like the volatility. I mean, I do like the volatility, don't get me wrong. I love volatility. So let me reword that. I don't like my entry compared to the volatility. I love volatility. So my wording of that is my entry compared to the volatility doesn't give me enough room to properly put my stops where I'd like to place them. Thus, that just happened. But I love volatility because without volatility, we're not, I mean, I don't know if you've ever traded slow markets all the time. I mean, you can get used to it, but volatility is where it's at. All right. Well, we have a switch over. So do I change my thinking long? Sure, why not? Let's go long. Let's see how that works out. And when I say see why not, let me see how that works out. I'm not nonchalantly going into it. I'm watching the fact that this candle looks like it's piercing the indicators. Hold up the RDA, held up 50%, held up all the indicators on chart 4. The challenge is just the volatility. Did I chase the trade instead of waiting for a pullback down to here, down to the 596 level to start the trade? So I don't want anybody to think that I just kind of willy-nilly. I don't know if that's a common vernacular you can use nowadays. Jump into trades willy-nilly. I'd love to see where that came from. Yep, should have waited. Burning through some of the P&L of the last trade I did. We really got that 590 level. 2 minutes left in this chart 1 candle. 3,700 chart 4. And we have 7 minutes left in this 60. Where would the 60 like to close? 60 probably would like to close above 623 to make a statement. And then it would have follow through upward action, most likely. 7 minutes, 6 minutes, 49 seconds on that. Screw you, Microsoft. Signing into all your crap. All right. Gonna have to be patient on this one. Plus, we're gonna get into the hour close. We expect increased volatility there. Is that dude still talking? JP. My man, JP. I hate OneDrive. I know other people were talking about gold, I think, earlier, weren't they? Let's look at CL. Ooh, great trade on oil there. Awesome. Yeah, we called it earlier in the week, MEX 200, still going for the MEX 200, which, and then maybe 78.59. If we look at our favorite time frame, we are looking at maybe 79.19, and maybe that MEX 200 right around 76.24. But it's got to get through 79.04, 79 even. I'm only in 4 lots. Damn it, Jim. That's what you get for being a wimp in your trading. Only in 4 lots. See if I can baby these 4 little lots, get the most out of this trade here. Up about what? Sorry. We're up about 3,000 or so. Let's baby this position. I don't want to add to it because of volatility. Do a couple trailing stops up here to get knocked out because it looks like at least our first profit should be right around here, 669, and then we'll put a couple fixed stops to kind of just let it work itself out. Might not get there though. Hit my profit. Still got a trailing stop there in play. Oh, someone asked about my nephew and a baby. I think the confusion was his girlfriend's sister just had a baby. And, I didn't make the connection earlier because my mind is extremely slow. I mean, that's my excuse anyways, with this treatment. But that's probably what maybe the conversation was. So his girlfriend's sister just had a baby literally before he came here. So like 1 or 2 days before he came to visit. So that might have been what he was talking about. I'm pretty sure that's what he was talking about. Gonna get knocked out of another position here, up $3,000. Now I have 2 fixed stops below the RDA on chart 4. I gotta take this. Hello? Yes. I believe so for the next round, correct? All right. Can I be heard?
Yep, loud and clear.
Okay, thank
Yep.
you. Appreciate it. Still was a wimp, only did 4 lots, so I'm only up 3,500. I even marked it. See that little line there, that pretty little line that says 111? I even marked where it was going. Didn't trade it with conviction. Part of it is a couple trades I did before knocked me psychologically out of whack. I think the important thing to kind of take from this, though, is I still took the trade. You know, I was having challenges in that zone down there, churning a little bit of P&L, but, you know, I still, it was knocking me around psychologically a little bit to the point that I wanted to just kind of say, okay, let me step back. But then I looked at the 4 chart setup. I kind of made the call. Remember, I said, where does the 60-minute chart, where does this candle want to close? And I said where it wants to close. Well, it closed well above that. And then I looked at the 4 chart, so everything was momentum and bias long. And I still took the trade. I just took it at, you know, only 4 lots. So that's the important thing I take from kind of what transpired there. Is that a fair thing to take? I hope. Or does anybody notice that in their own trading, I should say? That's the question. So I got 2 mics because I wanted to test 2 mics, but I also got 2 mics because this mic I can sit back and chill. And this other mic I have to sit more up, but this mic I can chill and just kind of relax. Let's see if it gets up to this 750. For those that are wondering how I did that or how I got to that number, we went over to the NDX chart and then I looked and saw, okay, where is number one, this previous I looked at the M24 and I said, where is it at? And I measured that and then I kind of approximated that to the NQ. But it also aligns, like I said, you could get there many other ways. It also aligns with our 781 level that is on chart 4, also on chart 3. So, you know, that's one of the things that I'd love to hear from some alphas if you're willing to speak up. Do you notice that a lot of times you can get to the same answer, maybe through different charts? Now, does that mean that, you know, it's more probable I wouldn't say that, but I mean, it does make you feel, or it does say something about kind of that probability of that trade. But so, for instance, you didn't have to do the NDX hold thing that I did. If it gets there, like I said, I'm still talking like it's going to get there. If it gets there, if it does get there, I mean, you could have just used chart 4. The other thing you could have done is kind of looked at some of the key zones around chart 3. And although these levels are not exact on the zones where chart 3 is. I think the question here is, if you're not in the trade, do you want to get back on do you want to get in on an RDA check here? I'm going to take some off. I took one off just because it broke. It looks like it might switch momentum. Maybe I might get back in, but making $1,500 sounded better than making $1,000, which if it gets below the RDA, that's what it is. I will say I'm not a good. One thing I'm consistently working on for myself is to stick with trades, even though I can do pretty well with. Well, it's hard to say, but I can do pretty well at predicting the zone. I just haven't got to that point where I stick with, like, for instance, let's say I didn't take any profits along the way here. And I know there's a couple traders that's what they do. They basically just, that's my target. I'm in the zone, I'm in the entry. I just found, and what I teach is the best way is take profit in thirds. I haven't exactly done that here in this trade, but I've took profit at key kind of stall zones. Does that work for most people here? For people that have mics that are willing to speak up and maybe share a little bit?
I'll share a little bit on one of the subjects you mentioned earlier, which is several things leading to the same conclusion, like you were talking about the levels. I find jumping to those other charts right now is overwhelming, but if I can look at the 1-hour chart or the 1-day chart and draw a level from that, and it's pretty close to the same, that's useful information for me. And as far as trading in thirds or taking profit in thirds, until I'm really a good sharpshooter, that makes a lot of sense to me. I'm not a good sharpshooter yet. I'm still very young in this. So at least I can come out with a green day when I take profits in thirds, whereas I don't know. I'm not strong enough in that conviction to say, okay, here's my target and I'm sticking to it.
No, that makes sense. What's going to get you there, you think?
Experience, time. I think the chart time is huge. Also going back and reviewing charts and seeing the behavior of what they've done in the past and other corresponding information, like was there a news event, for example, or what time of day was it? So yeah, for me, I think it's time, just time and patience.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I'd love to see things start happening immediately, but I'm also somewhat realistic, or I think I'm realistic in the fact that any other endeavor that I've excelled at in my life took time. It just took simply being present and listening to good thought about it, fundamental information, and hearing the other conversation in this room is great too. And then and I can see progress in my skill. Again, it's not my career yet, but that's okay. I see progress. So eventually, little by little.
No, good. Good to hear.
I'll say the biggest challenge that I've been facing is the last couple of days have had these they're very choppy, very range days. And so I actually look at them as a great training ground because they're harder to trade. And it's like if I can spot things in something that's difficult, that's good because then then when it's easier, that'll make me really happy.
Yeah, would you say that there is a decent element there of just chart time, right?
Oh my God. Absolutely. Yeah, I have to be here. And I have to be here uh real time. I also find I've been doing an experiment where I do the simulation at 400% speed, so I've got it going really fast, and then trying to call things on the fly when it's moving faster. So I'm like getting my response time quicker and having more confidence in what I'm seeing.
Yep.
It also helps me see because when that's one thing, it is easy for my mind to wander in real time because it can be slow. And so it's like, okay, what's going on? And then you forget what you were trying to remember to correlate. I got to jump for a second. I got an incoming meeting here, so I'll be back in a few.
All right, awesome. Thanks for sharing. That's good to hear. I mean, I take uh, all of this information and I use it to work on. I mean, now that I'm getting strength back and focusing, I'm working on the continuation of some of the training, and especially with the Rex Dog ATR, I'm excited about that dropping. I might just launch it early and then just as beta, and I think it will be members only because it's going to transform into more integration into stuff I just don't want to have to explain, and that builds upon other stuff that we have in our system. So I just don't want to have to do a whole huge, the thing with, I mean, you don't have to on TradingView, but they like you to have a good description. For me to do a proper description on this thing, on ATR and how I think the best use of ATR is, um, is gonna take a couple videos and just because I think there's value in ATR. You do see that I do have it on this chart here, on my main chart, which is my Rex Dog Ideas chart. And I've been using it for decision making. And there's a couple things I want to add to it. But like many of the other things we do in the system, it's 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 looking at it and saying, okay, this is how they say ATR should be used. This is how they say it's supposed to be worked. This is like the mainstream thinking. Now, here's some of the outlier thinking. Okay, some of that makes sense. Now, does any of this correlate to the actual stuff we see in the actual market? And then does this correlate to something that could help us out, you know, in real time? So, of course, if we look like a super bandit or not super bandit, if we look super awesome um, in historical charts, and we can go to historical charts and look awesome. I mean, that's cool, I guess. But if you can't utilize that information in real time or to manage your trade, then it's kind of a wasted. Then it's not a valid. It's not valid. Um, and then it comes down to the philosophy of how are you using the ATR? Are you using it for stop losses? You're using it for projection of of profit zones. So, and this is where it gets even deeper. Is that okay? You look at the ATR, and then you correlate it with strong levels, and then you say, is this probable based on the other aspects of the system that we trade? Now, this looks like there could potentially be a rollover here a little early, but the RDA is holding. So I'm going to move this up just because I might want to switch and reverse when it hits the actual momentum indicators up here.
Out of curiosity, did the stream drop for anybody else but me? I'm on Discord, and for me at least, it stopped. It may be my Wi-Fi setup.
Well, now that you said that, I went over to Discord and Discord restarted.
The stream just stopped for everybody I think, just now, but I think in general you have a bad connection
I do.
because once in a while, no, not you.
No, I think he is diagnosing my Wi-Fi.
Oh,
No,
You're right.
no,
You're right. It is a
but
challenge.
I've noticed that the other day we were all talking to you, and once in a while there were hiccups on your end, and then you would say you couldn't hear us, but we could hear each other. So I think your connection once in a while has hiccups.
I know my microphone setup was also part of that. So there's several components, but yeah,
Possibly. Sometimes you might have a really fast connection and still get the hiccups, once in a while.
Does anybody
You
else
know.
see the label by Asenki's name that says he has an unstable connection, or is that just mine that labels him like that? It's seriously, it's under your name. It's under your icon or your face or whatever that is. It says unstable internet connection.
I don't have that, but I do have the stream back. Thanks. I don't know if there was a refresh done, Rex, but it's suddenly repopulated here, so that's great.
No, I touched Discord and then it crashed and then it restarted. So I don't, and also I am streaming on the YouTubes and the Trading Views. So I forgot to mention it. I'm just a little slow. Yeah, I don't have the connection on any, or I don't have anything that says someone has a low connection. Whoops. And
But
That's interesting.
yeah, I do know that the Wi-Fi in two locations, one in Oregon and one in New York, I seem to be blessed with places that they can't seem to get it to function correctly.
yeah, it is frustrating when that happens. Maybe you need to contact Elon and go with his whatever that thing is he's got.
Starlink.
Yeah.
Starlink.
I am hoping that actually works. I mean, and then there's another competitor out there. I mean, it'll probably be Amazon, and Amazon doesn't.
Supposedly T-Mobile is going to be connecting to it next year. And so they're going to be satellite cellular.
Yeah, Amazon doesn't need more of our information, but actually all of our information is owned by like 3 or 4 people anyways, so that's my conspiracy theory. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what the max speeds are on that. Because I haven't really looked totally into it because I don't need it. I like wired.
Yeah.
I'm hardwired everywhere. Locks on my routers. Locks to my access to my routers.
Yeah, that's a very, very good idea. I just had a friend of mine just finally got cleared of child pornography charges because someone sent one document on Facebook that had some images of child pornography, but it came from his IP address at his home. And they seized all of his computers, his work computers, everything. He couldn't be around kids. You know, front page news in our small town, gets smeared all over. Has to, you know, he's probably got, you know, close to $100,000 in legal fees and bail. And ultimately, they couldn't find any corroborating evidence. And probably what happened to somebody was outside his house and used his unsecured Wi-Fi. But because it came from his IP, that's the only thing they went on. And they never found any evidence on any of his stuff because he didn't even use Facebook. And
Yeah. And then,
that's it. That's the risk you run when you don't secure your network.
well, and the challenge is the providers out the box provide the free access points.
Yeah.
So they're like, I don't know, maybe they want to create a mesh network. I don't know what the hell they're trying to do, but to me, that's just like you said. I mean, if a government entity or someone powerful wants to get you, they can get you. But then even that, I thought a long time ago, like, I mean, it really probably would be relatively easy to find an access point if you're a hacker nowadays. You just drive. I've seen these people. Sometimes I pull up to a stoplight or I see them in neighborhoods, and they're probably like people that work for gas companies or whatever. But they have like, I've seen this guy in this tricked out SUV, Escalade, and he had like 3 or 4 laptops, kind of where someone would sit, you know? And I'm thinking, okay, that's a little fishy. I mean, that's a little, you know, I don't know
Yeah,
what's going on there,
PHI.
but yeah. So I was getting out at a gas station and he opened the door and I looked in and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So, you know,
Maybe he just heard nerds are cool, so
yeah,
roll up in his Escalade with laptops.
chicks right in the back. Chicks right in the back, and he just plays with his computers up front.
Exactly.
That reminds me of the SBF guy. I never got the adulation for that dude.
Oh, and later after this is okay. Here's the push. I'm one. Let's do this.
I should have not been a wimp, and I should have entered at the RDA at 689 spot 25. But you know, I'm
Yeah, I gotta enlighten myself.
because it's been pretty much. We are pretty. I mean, one of the reasons I didn't is because I thought there might be an M9 test, or at least maybe a pullback to 701, or not 701 back then. I thought it might be a little bit further down to 680, but I should have just jumped on the second that it kind of did the stair step pattern right at 699, right where my cursor's at. That's where I should have just jumped on and said, okay, let me add 2 or 3. Maybe in this one lot. Now I am watching for this zone that we've kind of been earmarking all day. See how Bitcoin is doing. Now you can't see this on the stream, so I apologize. I'm going to try to figure out how I can. I mean, I think in order for me to do that, I have to use OBS to do it easily. I can do it in the application I use called Restream, but I'd have to switch that over quickly, and it's not as easy as it should be. Because I have different screens for my different setups. I would short here. How can I share a pic? I want to share my analysis. Why are you sharing in the scammer report? easy. I've never owned a pair of Yeezys. Huh? All right, dude. We might be on separate pages here. If I do that, is that going to happen? I bet it will happen. Okay. There we go. We're getting close to our zone. Getting close. Look at the NQ daily. Awesome trading view. Thank you for making your chart so amazing. NDX didn't quite hit. We're looking for it to hit the slow momentum. We might have a little bit more room to go. Not quite. Although it does look a little bit extended, but I think the trade is long to 790. So I'll be adding here unless it really rips down. All right. Hmm. How is that possible? All right, let me do that. If this guy goes on to share some kind of spam message, I've been working on, for the last year, I'm sure everybody else has been frustrated with the spam on the server. So I've been working on stomping it out. Like an infestation of prairie dogs. I mean, prairie dogs are a little too cute. So I'll have to choose something else. What is an animal that's okay to kill that everybody's okay with killing?
Well, I know they're not with squirrels, but I had to deal with squirrel infestation.
So you had a like that was a gopher in what is that movie?
Right, exactly. Like I felt like Bill Murray in Caddyshack, but except I didn't blow up the place.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm looking to go long on a deeper pullback to the M9 right around 697. Don't have any entries in there just because look, we're getting into the last half hour of the market. So some people shut down and go away. Well, I could get aggressive here and say, I see the future. Trade up to that zone. But that would make that candle be a pretty decent alpha. And it would probably be an exhaustion of that candle. What's the news tomorrow? Let's check the news tomorrow. We have jobless claims at before market open, productivity and costs, factory orders, Fed balance sheet, after market close. Really, that's just the jobless claims. So the overnight will be setting up for the jobless claims numbers, which means if it does impulse up there, it has the ability to range between there and 660 or higher. Look for a pullback here. Part of me wants to chase it, but I'm not going to chase it. So, shared a gold analysis. Let me see that gold analysis. 1760. I don't see that on gold. But what do I see on gold? 1760? Wait. Did that say 1760? Because I definitely don't see 1760. Stupid picture. 1770 on gold. Yeah, I don't know about that. So stupid. TradingView can do troy ounce, 10 kilograms, 100 kilograms, 40 kilograms, CWA for gold, but they can't figure out how to do tick charts. Come on, guys. Just add tick charts. You'd be the best charting platform on the planet. All right, trading deep into the close here. Anybody else have anything, any other interesting trades? I'm still, so right now, you know, it should be called waiting, not trading. Waiting for a pullback to 719, maybe a impulse down. I'm not going to get too heavy because it is deep, and I'm expecting an impulse close up to like 790, 789. I really should have added on that pullback to the momentum there. Chart 2. We'll keep it there for now. Let's look at the underlying. Tesla, daily. It's below the weekly open. It looks like the weekly open's in play for the rest of the week, which aligns with the fast momentum indicator. So looking at the options chain here, for a push above that probably would be what I'd be looking at. See if I can get a good deal somewhere close to in the money. See if there's some imbalance in pricing there. Apple's now messing around. Now, ooh, this is an interesting trade here because it's hit the RDA and it's momentum short and bias short. Didn't overshoot, so you're a little early. You'd like a confirmation of the next day action to see if there's going to be an exhaustion or expansion on the daily. But you could make the early trade on the sell. One thing is that the significant VWAP, okay, that's great. I love when trading view resets. Not trading view, trade over 8 resets. I love when it does that. That's awesome. CR chart never does that. You're a little early on this trade, but you know, up until 175 or so, 175.19. It's all about the next day and the follow through here. Otherwise, it's going to go back down to the next leg down. Meta held bias. Looks like it's going to recapture momentum. So Meta looks like a buy. Nvidia looking to recapture, but it's still not out of the woods. It needs I think it has a gap below here. So it toyed with the gap. I would wait for the gap fill. Coin did not hit a zone that was a buy zone. The longer that it stays in this value range, I'll do some analysis on it, and I'll decide whether or not this value range is a buy zone, and I might buy more coin. Now, for those that are maybe wondering, and I apologize for those that are, you know, sucks because let me just switch this over to Discord real quick. Or, yeah, I need to find out how to switch this quick for Discord peeps. And Discord. It's two things that are 9. So here, I did a coin. If you go to ideas on my profile, okay. Okay, sorry. If you go to ideas on my profile, you'll see that I did a coin, and I'm still of the same mindset on this coin analysis. It's one of the things that I've looked at. Sorry, I'm slow today, or I'm not slow, but I'm still recovering from my treatment. So Where's my coin analysis? Coin 200% upside potential. It's not a trade recommendation. It's just what I see over the long term. So we're kind of, the buy zone was here. Did hit some of the entry zone, did enter a little bit, but most of my buy positions were lower for spikes. And we'll kind of watch and see what happens in this zone here and then this key level here. If it pulls back, I'll do a value channel in this range, and then I'll do some value channel trading for, like I said, what I'm expecting, what I see as a potential 200% kind of move potential. If the crypto market also keeps up, that's kind of one of my equity trades that I've been watching. Google. I'll share this in the general too. Oh, by the way, if you're following on TradingView or YouTube, you'll see a link down below that says join Discord. You want to join Discord, that's where you get the most. I'm still accepting, we just had a new alpha join today. So I'm still tentatively just still kind of accepting new members, but not going to be pushing it the way I was a couple months ago. I'm just going to show up, have fun. This isn't exactly, I'm not quite in fun mode yet. I'm still recovering, but have a little bit more fun. Pull capital from the market. That's fun. Pulling capital from the market's fun. I will say that. Getting up every day and pulling capital from the market is enjoyable. All right, we're 19 minutes to market close. I usually get out around 7 minutes after. Just in case there's any problems with my positions, I can still call my brokers and say, hey, or I can jump on 2 of my other solutions for trading and get out of the positions. But I'm usually not big enough in any settlement or during settlement trade that even if it, but I still don't like to be in a position that I don't really want to be in, especially given the geopolitical machinations of the given world today. All right, Google, it's not looking good. So it's pretty obvious where your zones are there. Amazon, there must be something saying that the consumer and Amazon hit the bottom, at least short term, because Amazon's been on a tear since really Monday or Thursday the 26th when it hits the mix 200. Now, what I will say is that look at this from a value channel analysis. By the way, is this interesting to anybody, or am I just kind of just talking? Trying to feel what is non-trading that's happening. So from a value channel analysis, we've got excess up here, and then I would put this as excess down here. It's not the best value channel because it's more weighted this way, but that's the best you can do given where the price action is right now. So you expect to slow down here or stall here. But what you really want to see is you want to see this zone hold right here. This zone hold here. And if that zone holds, then, there's a couple theories in the market. This is one of the new video or one of the videos I'm going to go through, which is there's only 3 ways for you to see the market, I believe, which is level to level, pivot to pivot, or value to value. And I'll be going through that, and it's covered in the training. I discuss it, but I'll be going through it in a little bit different way through the pieces of the puzzle series. There's another value channel right here. And if we use this as excess here and kind of go like here, it's not going to be as perfect as I want it. Another value channel here. So value to value means that, okay, if this value channel holds, then it's going to go 50. It's going to go to 50% of this next value channel. So, and yeah, Bern, I'll do BTC. I'll do that next. So that's kind of the value to value analysis. Now for BTC, let's open up our super BTC chart. Impulse. And let me make sure everybody can see this. So can everybody see, or, on TradingView, let me make sure on YouTube, do you see a super busy chart that has a lot of green and red lines? And that's Bitcoin.
I'm seeing BTC.
You are?
Yeah, on Discord, it's here.
Okay, good. So I see it on there and I see it on TradingView. Okay. So this is my super analysis Bitcoin chart. Alpha members, you have access to this. You just need to go to wherever copy the chart is, and then you can copy the chart and you'll get all the lines, all the organization of the object trees. So you can see all the mid-level VCs, for instance, that are drawn. So if I turn off this here, right, you'll see here it has key levels here, and I haven't assigned those yet here to times, but I need to. I can turn off the AVWAPs. And what's interesting right now about Bitcoin is it just did something very important that it hasn't done for a very long time. This is the 4-day analysis, but it doesn't matter. We can go to the daily. The same thing is going to apply. See all these green and red lines? What those are is those are significant. The red are highs and the green are lows. And those are significant pivot points of Bitcoin going back to, I believe, 2016. Going back from what I call the all-time high awareness. And Bitcoin just did something that it hasn't done in a very long time. You'll see price is now above all of the anchored VWAPs. And a way to look at anchored VWAPs the way I explain it, and I know it's not the exact way, but it's the simplistic lizard brain way that I explain it, is that if someone were to buy at this green high, this would be their basis. So basically, Bitcoin is above all of the people's bases. This isn't the best way, but like I said, this is kind of a way to look at it. It's now trading above all of the bases that are significant highs and significant lows. You can see here this green line down below is the last significant low. This isn't a significant high because it's in the middle of a range. The next significant high needs to breach something up here for it to be significant. So that's very telling. That means that if it can hold above these, it's above kind of a major, it's above one of the major resistance zones that are resistant reaction areas that rule how the charts work. You can do this on any chart. You're going to get the same type of results. You're going to find reaction zones around these significant areas, these significant highs and lows on anchored VWAPs. I just don't do it because I don't necessarily need to do it. I do it on maybe deeper analysis of charts that I trade, like the coin. I did it on coin. So if we remove this and now we go look at the actual mid-level VCs. So these are the value channels. And I need to update this because I haven't got a chance to. We can do this live, actually. We have a value channel right here, and then a value channel right here. So let's draw the better value channel, which is right here. So on a value channel, you want to have excess. You're using levels. You can see we have excess above and we have excess below. And what you're really looking for is you want 50% of the trading to be below the 50% line and 50% of the trading to be above it. That makes, in air quotes, the true value of this range is 26,780. That's the true value of this range. So one theory of the market that I subscribe to and that I see is that, yes, the market moves level to level, but I count this as a level. So the market moves from value channel level to value channel level, which 50% is the key level. That's the value of that value channel. Now this is another value channel. It's not a great one, but it is another value channel. Also, what our indicators doing here is important. And I'll get to I'm going to wrap it up. So I'm not going to leave you hanging on any of this stuff. We're in a very initial early stage of a value channel. Let's say that. I don't know if this would make sense. Let's look at the 4-day. It would kind of make sense. What would make more sense, which would probably be scary for some people, is a value channel that looks something like this. So if I project out the current value channel, and then we turn on the anchored VWAPs. See, in this chart, what I do is I rename these value channels, and you can see I put the dates, I put the amount of percentage, and then I put them in, I organize them into where you can see them all. Now, I haven't got to all of them because I just don't have time. So going forward, starting here, I kind of started doing it in an organized fashion. But I can turn off, well, I didn't put these in the mid VCs. But now let's turn on our anchored VWAPs and let's just kind of see where we are in relation to those. Now, keep in mind, we're in our favorite time frame, the 4-day. And what the 4-day tells us is that we have the alpha sell-off right here at 39,816. So I used the M9 here. That value channel is probably, let's see how big this value channel is. Just for recency. Oh, I don't have the ATR in this. I should have the ATR in this. So I'm going to just measure how big this value channel is from the bottom, percentage-wise. So about 8%. How big is this value channel over here? Probably more than that. I'm still in my long trades. The market's about to close. I've got 2 trailing stops. I'm in 2 lots. So, and then we'll see. It just tested the RDA. All right, so that's roughly 10%. So let's say a good 8%, 8.5%. So let's make that value channel 8.5% from the M9. Okay. That puts it right there at that zone. I would make it a little bit bigger volatility-wise. I think given the volatility, it needs to be a little bit bigger. So what I'm projecting out, I'm just, look, I'm sure some people dropped off or some people said, hey, it's boring. But I'm showing you how I do my deep Bitcoin analysis. Now, I already earmarked an area much earlier of where it was going. Well, I drew it back in April 23, where I thought it was going back in April 23. Now, if we take off the VWAPs, we know we have the 4-day alpha here. The point I'm getting to is the next thing you want to do is measure your moves from VWAP, from value channel to value channel. 50% to here, 26%. From here to here. Oh, got knocked out of one stop, trailing stop, 26%. Okay. So if another value channel forms here and a move up at 26%, puts us an overshoot of the 4-day alpha. This is what I'm seeing for the best case scenario for the upside. Now, how do you trade this? Well, if you see this as an upside, you already have. I already told you the best time frame to trade Bitcoin. It's 4-day. It's the best time to trade any crypto. 4-day time frame. Key levels, or trade at the reaction zones. But I'd make an argument that this 4-day alpha sell-off, which is right here, is the target that it's going for. And well, it spent $16 days or 64 days. That's 64 days. It's not 64 days. How can that be 12 bars, 52 days? Oh, because it's 4 days. Duh. I'm an idiot sometimes. 56 days in that value channel, roughly. It spent, now it did sell off. It spent roughly the same amount of time, a little bit less, 50 days in the last value channel. So if you project out the same type of thing for this value channel, we're talking about January or December 19th, 23 would be 56 days of a value channel for then a next impulse up. If a value channel is going to form at this next level here. So I just gave you, this is the exact analysis I do for my trading of Bitcoin. And I trade and sell accordingly. I've already told people that I'm looking to dump half of my BNB. So any other, was that a good explanation, Bern? Or anybody that was following on Bitcoin? Was that too deep? Was it too deep for an end of market session?
No, it's interesting to see because today Bitcoin or other altcoins are really following a little bit momentum. So I try always to make some DCA on pullbacks to get out of my old crypto. Yeah.
So you're looking to get out of crypto?
Some coins let's say BNB. I'm still in BNB, but
I'm holding for this RDA check up here at 252 on, so that's where I'm going to dump half. So I'm
okay.
I'm probably being a little greedy. I'm hoping I don't have to dump at 200 or 220. 204. I mean, I won't dump. I'm hoping I don't have to dump at 206 or if it looks like, but I'm holding out for this 252 and then I'm going to dump half of it.
I sold some Rune. I had some Rune from since over 1 year, I think.
Yeah, Arb was the one that I was, Arb's the one that I said is going to $5 eventually. So, I bought in this whole range here. I said, it's a flyer. I said, I'm going to keep buying all the way down to 50 cents and then I'll stop buying. And then I'm just going to hold it till it gets to $5. So that's been my one crypto that I kind of threw, and it could happen in 3 months, 6 months, who knows? Doge is another one.
Too much. So I bought some crypto, and then you realize that all making the same moves, but like Sol or other Arweave coins, but they dropped 70-80% and still in loss with these coins.
Yeah, that's why, if you go around the market, it doesn't matter really which coin you trade, Mask, CFX, ZIL, CTSI, Waves. It's almost the same pattern. I'm completely out of the market. So it's almost the same pattern. So it doesn't matter. That's why I just pick one that I find interesting. I don't even know what ARB does. I just said, okay, that's the one that hasn't popped yet. That's one that hasn't popped yet. Now these are old. I mean, Magic's been around. Algo's been around. Ape obviously is relatively newer. Waves has been around since what, day one of crypto, it feels like. ZIL, I think, has been around since day one of crypto.
Yeah.
It feels like it anyways. I don't know what these things are doing. I don't know. And I'm still buying
Some,
Doge.
some I know, but others I don't know. But at least, yeah, I put everything in the wallet when the comes out with Binance or KuCoin maybe shutting down or not shutting down. So the best place for me is actually have them in a cold wallet. And some I can trade directly from the cold wallet, or I make some dollar cost average when there drops.
Yeah.
When I go out from one coin, I waiting for the next one, and just the switching between US Tether and some altcoins, but it's different. So when you put everything on the exchange, you need to be careful. I think it's this weird.
Oh, I never keep anything on exchange anymore. I haven't for years. So, I'm yeah, I just never have. I mean, if you've been in crypto early or somewhat early, what, 2016, 2017,
That's
you
2017. So when you make your first videos about 3 commas,
yeah. Yeah, so yeah, you're an OG here. And so I mean, how many hacks have we seen? I mean, exchange hacks, probably 50 at least. I can't name them all, but I know it's more than 10. I know it's more than 20. So, you know, my only other flyer is Doge, just because I think one day Elon's going to get up and do something with Doge with X, and it's going to make it go to $1. I just think he's going to like, oh, I love Doge today. We're going to make it part of the ecosystem of X, and then it's going to, I don't know why I think that. I don't know, I could be completely off my rocker there, but I just think that one day because he's continuously kind of gone back to it, you know, and but that's his personality, right? He knows how to get into
yeah.
the zeitgeist or whatever of modern culture. He knows how to stay relevant, and that's part of his brand value is staying relevant.
But sometimes it's strange how they pump and then after it they dump.
Oh yeah,
It's
no, and that's why
they can
with
move.
crypto, right? You just got to know how to trade them. You got to when they bump, you sell. You know,
Yeah.
when they get to value ranges where they're in value ranges for 50 days, you start kind of dollar cost averaging and you just sit on it and either goes to, at this point, I mean, I'd still be trading crypto the same way because I mean, you could day trade crypto. I mean, it's harder for us in the States. I'm in the US because we can't trade futures crypto. So,
The only spot actually. So futures for me the nice thing on spot is okay, you buy, you have it in the cold wallet, and yeah, then you just need to have patience. So
yeah.
I have some alerts on CoinGecko. Sometimes it's popping up. I look, okay, 10% profit, sell, done. So then the next one.
Yeah, exactly. And that's I mean, that's perfect. I mean, like I said, that I still have love for crypto. I just don't talk about it as much because I don't trade it as aggressively as I used to. Although one of my most popular videos on YouTube is me scalping, which I watched part of it the other day. I'm like, ugh, I wish YouTube allowed you to like kind of like replace a video but you know, because I I did okay, but I cringe at some of the things I just did, and just I would be totally different nowadays because it was on that app. I don't even know if that app's up anymore. All right. Anybody else have any other questions or anything else they want to add? It's about time I jump off. It's at the market. Need to get ready. I do want to be around for tomorrow too. Feeling good. So good trading day today. Any other kind of questions or anything anybody wants to share? And it's fine if you have nothing to. Totally fine. I do appreciate everybody that kind of watched on YouTube, watched on TradingView, and also watched on Discord, all the alphas. I'm working on a couple podcast episodes. Also working on what else are we working on? I'm working on getting back into the puzzle series for training. That's going to be about 15 videos, I think, and it's the full picture. You'll have, the benefit is that after you've gone through the full training, watch the market for a little bit, it's something you can go back to that puts all the pieces together, but approaches them from different angles. So I apologize that it's taken me a while. Plus the Rexdog ATR. That's on my list tonight to either release as a beta or understand where it's at as far as a release. As a beta or as a release. All right.
Pleasure as always. Thank you very much, and I'll look forward to seeing it tomorrow and everybody else.
Yeah, everybody
Yeah.
else as well. Thanks everybody for
Thank you.
attending. Oh, I see some.
Bye.
I see some comments in the room. How do I go to that comments? Oh, what the heck is wrong with Discord? I'm glad it crashed. I love when Discord crashes. Oh, there we go. Oh, sure. I didn't share my P&L. Well, shucks. Need to get to my performance. I'll share the P&L here in a second.